Good evening and welcome back to the Mancunian Way. My name is Mike. I'm your host, and we are doing Stateside Blues again. Joined by a fantastic panel as always. Veta will be with us soon. But Danny, good evening, mate. Good afternoon, wherever you are.
Yeah, good to see you all. Good to be on.
Good. Rajak, good evening, mate. Good to have you back.
Hello.
Shake, he's here. He's here. Good evening, mate.
What's up, guys?
Good man. Ed's off camera because his mic's gone off again. Hello, Ed.
Are
you there? All right. And then Terry, how are you, mate? Hope you're well.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's up?
Good. As you can tell, everyone's links, descriptions are down below, so please give them all a follow. I will add their links in as well. I'm just going to say some of those in the chat. Kathy, hello. Harry, good evening, mate. Good to have you back. Hope you had a lovely time away. Chrome Abyss. Spurs time to make a panic bid, Savinho. Not doing that anymore. I'm sure we'll get into that. AK, big up, mate. Louis, hello. Big up, Fernando. Hope you're okay, mate. Dash. Yep. Please be respectful to everyone's comments. You may not agree, but be respectful. Be prepared for anything at this rate. Well, yeah. Apparently, Ake's out now. T-Lady next. To get the eye, I don't know. Everyone's leaving. There's been a tweet out in the last 10 minutes. Gundogan's going as well now. So it's gone from nobody's leaving to everyone's leaving. Evening, House. How are you, mate? Cade, hello. Gundogan not in Pep's plans. Let him go, take the wages, and if retire next season, he will come back. When does the madness end? Begin with him. Exactly. Big up, Ed. Who else have we got? I'm just saying hellos at the moment. I will come back to your comments. Kathy, hello. Lee Gates, how are you, mate? Hope you are well. Good to have you back. Steve, same with you. Danny's saying hello to everyone in the chat. Governor, by the way, big up to Governor on your debut this morning on Blues Down Under. Go and give that a watch. Awesome having you on, mate. Podcast updates, we'll know next week. Podcast is coming back. So Hamza's not American. Stop. Elite panel, big up Hamza. Listen, Hamza's just, we love Hamza. And we get on, we do talk. Tottenham are not giving up on the deal. Well, City may have already given up on it. Martin, what's your Samsung? Why didn't Edison sign a contract, you twat?
Bit harsh.
Why didn't Edison sign a contract? How was that my fault? I'm going to say this against people. I don't work at the club. I hear bits. I don't work for the club. Right, anyway. I'm a twat. Let's move on. It's my fault. Edison's not signing, not going, etc. Danny, go on. Talk about whatever you want. Start wherever you want to go here, because we could go anywhere and everywhere here.
I think the best place to start would be Saturday. I thought that was fantastic. I thought I saw some very, very good signs from individual players and from the system itself. And I think a lot of the people who were negative coming into the season, I've been forced to eat crow already. That just made me very happy. Very well selected team, very well set up team, and just nothing to complain about, really. I could go into detail about it, but I'll leave it to these fine gentlemen here to build on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, to your point, coming in, we didn't really know what to expect lineup-wise, on the pitch, with the addition of the backroom staff and all of the things that have been changing over the last, next number of months. And so it was very much, great to see, for at least for me, I was perfectly fine with the lineup. There's maybe one or two little things that you could argue about, but I felt like for the most part it was spot on. The boys went out there, they performed, big win, top of the table after match day one. I mean, what else can you hope for? It was a great time. Always good to be back in winning form. And I would say this, and then I'll shut up. I feel like it's been a long time since I just came away just that, happy, joyful, whatever after a win, because last year was so difficult to get through with just the way everything went. So it was good to be back in just winning form and just being able to just be happy.
Yeah, I echo all the points said beforehand. I would say I'd like to shout out Oscar Bob for an individual performance that I thought was something that I think a lot of people enjoyed, obviously, watching, but not something that was surprising to me, as my chat normally tells me I'm an Oscar Bob glazer. But I've been begging for Oscar Bob minutes all summer and didn't get a ton at the Club World Cup, but I was very happy to see him get a chance and make the most of his opportunity, which, sometimes the academy guys get, like, for instance, McAtee last year, and people are like, "Oh, he did all right here. He did some good things," but I think Oscar Bob's performance was, top tier. It was something that we don't normally see from when an academy guy when he gets his first couple of chances or so. So I like that for sure.
I think for me, the number one takeaway is just. Obviously, the win is great and all, but I feel like it's more a story of everyone. Like, the majority of players were good, and there weren't players that were actually bad. I feel like the season starting again and just being able to watch the players play alleviates a lot of stress from the fan base. There's a lot of things being talked about players leaving and performances and who needs to start and who needs to go and whatnot, but. For me, it just felt really good to see the guys go out there and not only win, but like play well. It's a good mesh of younger players, new players, older players, and I feel like Pep is going to surprise some people this season with some of his decisions in a good way.
I felt like it was.
Hey,
no,
go ahead.
Oh,
you're good.
I felt like it was a really good showing by the team. Like what Danny said, I really like the lineup, especially, Oscar Bob. I think a lot of people, wanted to see how he would respond after that injury. We all thought he had the potential to be our starting winger last season. So we just wanted to see if he could pick up where he left off in some capacity, and I think he did. It was really great seeing just energy back into our midfield, because that's all we were complaining about last season. And I know a lot of people had some doubts about it, but I mean, the midfield showed up for us last week. Nico G, another player that's been having a lot of noise about him, showed up last week. So, it's really good to see some players responding to some of the responsibility they have this season with some of the expectations on them, and this hopefully continues.
Yeah, I think the way we used Nico Gonzalez was very, very intelligent. I talked about this on another show. I think the biggest complaint with him is sometimes he'll take too many touches, sometimes he'll turn very slowly. The way we sort of incorporated him into our build-up, passing it center back to fullback and giving it to him with the pitch ahead of him as opposed to like a player right on him, just really helped alleviate that. And it's something I'd like to see going forward. I mean, there was a City Extra tweet that flared up a couple of weeks ago from 2020 where Pep was saying Rodri is fantastic with his back to pressure and with his back to goal. Even though he was not great in his first season, Pep still saw that, and that may be the biggest quality you can have as a six for our team. Maybe that's what Nico Gonzalez needed to learn before he got a super extended run of games in. But again, very, very good showing from him, very good showing from a lot of people. But the games only get harder from here. So I'm not going to get too ahead of myself, but nothing to complain about. Just hope we can bring this into Saturday. That's the most important thing to me right now.
I like it. I like it. First of all, apologies for being late. Good to see you guys. Week 2 of this show. So let's keep this going. I'm different, guys. I'm getting giddy. There was so much negativity fan base wise. There was so much criticism of the manager. I'm all in. I'm all in with the manager because the thing that was kind of said, everyone kind of calmed down. It's funny on how one season made so many. I'm not including myself. So when I'm not saying we. But it's funny how one season had so many really doubting the manager. It's funny how one season had so many think like how Pep sees the game has been past him, right? And we say this, but then I don't think we really take into account the manager's not a robot, neither are the players. And if the manager was guilty of being a little too loyal, knowing that players, because we don't know everything. Yes, there was talks of KDB maybe remaining, but we know that there's the manager managing the player that have put their blood, sweat, and tears and delivered things that we didn't even imagine, and knowing that they're leaving to really kind of appeasing them. So I like this fresh new start. I like the quote unquote young players getting the shot, but let's not fool ourselves. We know that Pep is still going to tinker. We know that we will probably see a Bernardo and Gundo because tactically that's what Pep wants to do. Like I'm just so happy with the debut. And I've been talking endlessly about the academy players that showed up. They were all involved. Every goal, they were involved in some aspect of that goal. We talked about the debuts. Reiner's phenomenal, and we've been saying that was going to be a key. Shirky, obviously, 20 minutes, and I don't want to hear. Myself, I'm ready. Funny enough, I'm ready to fight some of my fan base. Like if we were in the pub together, I think we'd be fighting because I don't want to hear Shirky needs to start. Guys, let the manager figure this out, right? Let him figure out who's to start and when. Like Shirky getting the 20 minutes, he made the most of it. Let's not criticize the manager and said he should have been on to start the game. He got his goal. He was involved. We know that we have a wealth of talent, and it's any manager's quote-unquote nightmare, but Pep obviously has said, I can't have a big squad, and he definitely can't have a big squad with great talent like this. We had Foden and Rodri not even on the subs. So, like, that's what Pep's got to – when he's saying, like, it tugs on my heart when I got to tell a player they're not traveling. So – I was so giddy with this. I haven't watched the game. I haven't rewatched the game because I like to do that, emotions aside, and just rewatch and kind of break things down. But I was so happy with the game that we had. And I forgot to mention Ait Nori. I know he wasn't really tested defensively, but I think in most cases we're going to be the aggressor. We're going to be the attacker than a defender. So most likely he'll get tested this weekend. You'll get tested versus Spurs, and we can kind of properly suss that out. But guys, like, I know I'm rambling on, but I week 1, I was yes, let's go.
If I'm
week
in that
one,
one with you, I'm fighting right alongside you. Let me tell you.
All right, I know I can put my back to you, and we got the whole pub covered.
Whoa,
Like,
everyone's fighting.
What's our
Whoa,
gang name?
calm
I'm
down.
just trying to figure out what our gang name is.
I don't know.
You know, as a City
Stateside, I
fan,
don't know.
as a City fan, you know, I think we were only one seeing all this stuff about our players before the first game, and people were like, "Oh, Reinders, who's that guy?" You know, they're like, Outnor, he can't defend.
Yep.
Stones is always injured.
Yep.
You guys are just talking all this nonsense. What are you guys going on about? And then 90 minutes. Now everybody's talking about us a little bit differently. Now we're not written off. Now it's not Peppers going into the sunset. So I'm just saying, man, sometimes you just have to back the team because we know Pep is going to show up for us.
Yo, and Ed, and as you say that, there's backing the team and being like, you know what, Pep got it wrong, maybe with some of these decisions. Player made a mistake. Us pointing that out and still saying, I'm confident that the club and the manager is going to get it right. They don't conflict. Like that's how the support is. You can be like, yeah, there were mistakes here, but I'm confident that the manager is going to get it right. I'm confident that these players are going to get it right. This, like, no one just backs the club blindly. No one does that. But then there's the opposite. Then there's every decision gets micro analyzed and broken down with lack of confidence in these players because they made a mistake, or lack of confidence in this manager. He's going to continue going down this path. Like this season couldn't have started soon enough for me. I don't. Well, obviously, we shouldn't talk about the upcoming game with Spurs. We should continue to speak on Lookout DC. We should continue to speak on what transpired versus Wolves. But one thing that was very telling to me was having to kind of get through a difficult spell. And I love the interview that Pep just gave. That got was that the other day or 2 days ago, where he spoke of failure. Like, no one's successful. Everybody tries to be successful, but no one's successful without failure. Like, no one continues on. And whoever quits after the first knockdown, the first trip, the first loss, the first failure, you're a quitter.
And that's what I was saying. That's what Bernardo was saying. We saw who we could count on last season. When the going got tough, not everybody was willing or able or whatever to step up. Some people kind of shirk back and kind of step back. And those are the people, that, hey, we can't go, and I won't, we can't go to, I don't want to use the word battle or war or whatever.
You can't go to the mat with them.
Yeah, but we can't count on you when the going gets tough. And so, yeah, I'm with you.
And I think Pep said something similar in like October, November. He said, I'll always remember the players who given 100%, something like that. It was right around Spurs when we lost in the cup. He said something like that. And everyone's like, oh, he's talking about Walker. But, as time has gone on, it's been more of a widespread thing potentially. So.
Yeah. And we can't ignore, because, again, if we're going to criticize the manager for the players that remain here, we also have to give, I guess, praise to the manager for the players that go, right? Like, if we look at, Walker being sent out, if we look at Grealish, if we look at the players that have been let go, we got to give credit to obviously the board and the manager being like, here's who I want to continue to go on to battle with, and the transfer window's not closed. And I think it's going to be very telling on who does remain and who does let go with regards to the season. And we know that the young players, I'm not talking about the young players that have been sent on loan. We know that they need to develop. They need to get a little sharper. But I'm going to say this last thing, because I know I'm talking a lot. For all of the fan base that were tired and think that Pep needs to go, you only got 2 more years to worry about it. You only got 2 more years to worry about Pep being.
You might not.
He said he might
be more.
He said maybe 2, maybe 4. Who knows? He said I might leave at the end of this season. Who knows? But you're right. We can count on 2, unless of course we win at this. If we win everything this year, he might just walk away on a high. Who knows?
Oh yes. If that happens, man. If that happens. Are you holding up symbols? What are you doing there, Martin?
Well, sorry, no, I wasn't doing anything there. Not a thing.
I told you we were a gang. He's throwing up gang signs.
He was gang signing.
Yeah, we're ready for a fight. You was talking about fighting, so he was ready.
No, listen, I was over the moon with Wolves. I can't deny it. Being there it showed me how much I miss football, being in that ground. Absolutely loved it. Loved it that much that I'm going to the under-21 game on Tuesday night in Oldham, which I'm like, come on, let's just go with it.
Good.
Proper old school, Thousand Blues, Boundary Park.
Boundary Park, yeah.
We're doing it. We're just going to do it. It's going to be amazing. It'll be an amazing night there. By the way, tickets are still available if you are local. Get over there. £10 adult, £5 kids.
Nice.
Let's fill out the whole away end and make something special for the young lads.
Nice.
Right. But we're going to do the elephant in the room. I'm going to ignite the dynamite.
Oh, no.
I'm going to do it. Right, Savinho.
Savinho.
Yes. Spurs have not got Eza, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
City have said no.
Mm-hmm.
Edison did train, as you've all seen the photos. By the way, I
Yep.
love that City Insider brought that video out because it brought so many people down that Edison and everyone were not training. They were all sat at home when they were in the video.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone's like, they're not training, they're down tools. No, they haven't. Stop believing some of these, you know. You can go where you want. Savinho, Akanji, whatever you want. Ake, Gundogan, the tea lady, fella next door. I'm going to ask a question before I go on. No, I am going to ask this question, and we'll go around the panel. I understand the Savinho wanting Savinho to leave to bring in Rodrigo. I get that. I get the excitement. Are we being a bit too harsh on Savinho, though, on the way we're doing this on the way out? Has Savinho become that bad a player? Has he become that bad a player in 1 year? Because what I'm scared of, if we're going to set a precedent of 1 year is your level, if you've got to do it in 1 year, then I think we've got to set that precedent for every player then in their first year.
I feel like we're going the other way. We used to give everybody a whole year just to settle and adjust to working with Pep and Pep's system and the city way. It used to be doesn't matter what you do your first year because we know you're gonna cook your second year or going into the future. That first year is hit or miss. It was always just a given. So I was actually interested because you said, are we being too critical on the way out? And I guess my issue is I feel like people have been critical the entire time. I don't think that this is new. I think they've been critical since last season. Yeah. And so
I'm only asking the questions, by the way.
Yeah.
So.
But I do think that, I think we've been a little unfair. Could we say, we would have loved for him to convert some of those goals that he got in good positions for? He had opportunities, of course, but every player makes mistakes. Every player, is going to have moments where they didn't deliver, or they're not on top of their game or whatever. But I think if you can see the potential in these young kids, you got to give them a chance to deliver on that. Again, if he decides to go, or if we decide to let him go, then so be it. But we can't kill these kids because they make mistakes. And I say kid because he's probably the same age as my daughter, but we can't expect perfection because that's not realistic.
I think the problem.
Go ahead.
I think the problem is that recently our players have been so good. And whenever a younger guy comes in as a replacement, per se, the expectations are through the roof, and rightfully so to a certain degree. But I think people kind of lose the plot when they make these direct comparisons, because development with players is never linear, is it? You know, so in the case of Savinho, so people love to say, he needs to be like Mahrez. He needs to be like Mahrez. And then you see people arguing about, well, Mahrez was 26. He was at the Havre at 23 or at Leicester or whatever it is. I don't know the exact ages. But the thing is, like, when a club, especially our club, that works so hard and scouts so well, invests in a young player like Savinho, they're investing knowing what they're getting, in the sense that they're getting a 20-year-old winger that needs time to develop. And the fans need to understand and embrace that to a certain degree. I understand the expectations. You need to do better. And I'm never one to say he doesn't need to improve, because every player can improve, and that's my opinion. But when it comes to young players, you need to be patient with them. And like you said, it isn't just being like blindly patient. It's understanding that like we're not signing a player of the year, Mahrez. We're signing a 20-year-old from La Liga who, had a good year. And at the same time, like you were saying, yeah, it was harsh last year because he had a ton of assists. He played generally pretty well. He just didn't score. And like, if you look at our wingers in recent years, we haven't really had prolific goal scorers on the wings either. And if you look at like someone like Anthony Gordon, you look at the numbers that he put up last year in the league, it's not, Savinho's not that far off, So like, I just think a lot of perspective needs to be brought to the table when it comes to the younger signings. And someone like Nico G, maybe we can talk about it later, but it's the same thing. It's like, he's not Rodri, he's never going to be Rodri. It's always these crazy comparisons with these world-class established players that have proven that they belong here and that they can succeed. And I think sometimes we just need to take a step back and understand that, like, we're not signing them knowing that they're a finished product. We're signing them knowing that they can improve. And that requires a little bit of nuance when it comes to kind of gauging how well they're performing, Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
He's not even been the first person of this ilk. We signed Sane, we signed Sterling. I mean, Sterling, he won the Golden Boy Award, I'm pretty sure. But Sane, he was, I can't say a relative unknown, but he came in and had a season similar to Savio, maybe a little bit worse. He took till December to score his first goal, just like Savio did. And he's lauded as one of the best wingers in our history. The thing is, I think people were willing to give him time, willing to give him grace. And yet, as soon as the Rodrigo stuff comes out, they turn 180 degrees just like that. So when people are saying, oh, it's Foden remontada season, oh, it's Savinho's going to break out, wingers in their second season that say, oh, he's going to break out. Do they actually mean that? Do they actually believe that? And that's my issue. That's my issue. It's like Cade's put up there a few minutes ago. We just want a better player. No, but you're back in Bob, you're back in Foden before the Rodrigo stuff came out. So, like, are you really believing what you're saying?
See, that's a good question, though, by the way. I will come to super chats in a minute. What point does patient interfere with winning? I'll be back in 2 minutes. I've just got to ring my mum.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is because, first of all, we're coming off one of our worst seasons in a very long time. And every player is getting shown up in a light where they're shit, basically. Even our players that's been here for a very long time, that's won us multiple trophies, they're being called shit as well. And so, unfortunately, Savinho came in a harsh season, and now everybody's questioning if he's going to develop, and we don't know how long. And it's not helping also that you have, and I'm not going to throw him underneath the bus, but Doku at the same time. So it's putting even more pressure on him to produce because he's coming off of a good season from Girona where he's getting 20 GA. So people automatically assume, well, he's coming to a better team. He's going to have better players around him. He should produce that or more, right? There's some people already doing shows that Turkey is supposed to get 30 GA in his first season.
30 goals, not even GA. 30 goals.
So
I was on that stream.
Jesus.
Unfortunately, it's gotten to this point, man. It's just,
Oh, and I saw something that said, like, if you switch Savio's goals and assists, would the perception of him be entirely different? And I actually think it would.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
Goals and 3 assists. They'd be, oh, what a shrewd signing. Oh, let's sign every Girona player ever. Oh, this is brilliant. Oh, next Garincha. It's like, but no.
I understand the perspective of like, okay, they need to deliver so that we can win, right? I just think that to make those judgments about Savinho and be kind of so harsh when, like you said, the entire team was shit. It's a little unfair on him, and I feel like he was like my pick, him or Doku. I really thought one of them was going to break out this year because I figured, they both, their stocks are kind of low, and they can produce more. So like if anyone was to really up their output, it would be one of them, in my opinion, this season. But that being said, it's like if we don't win this season and Savio has 20 GA, are we going to say he's a failure, or that he's not fulfilling his potential, or he's not making it here? I guess that's where I'm kind of lost, because like you look at his creating numbers and like you see it, his shot creating actions and stuff like that in his first year with City, and he ranked very highly with all U21 players in all of Europe. So it's like, what are we nitpicking here? Are we nitpicking the goals? Because like Danny said, if you flip them with his assists, then people are going to say he had a great season, you know. But he's a creating winger. So, and he's not a goal scorer. So if he's creating and he's getting assists, is that because people are misinformed, or is it because he's just like not good enough? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, Ryjek, what are you thinking, man?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of try to think of it from the club's perspective. I don't think that City are behaving any other way than what would be expected of them in this scenario. And I think like the fan perception is a lot different than just at least how they think about it. Just because, yes, we signed a young, promising player from our sister club who had an all right opening season. He wasn't outstanding, but I certainly thought all right, this is a guy who I could see having a future here at City. But if you find out that you're able to 4x your investment from another Premier League club who potentially want to buy your player, and you think, all right, do we do that? And if we do that, who can we get? Oh, there's this Rodrigo guy who we currently believe improves the squad, or even long-term improves the squad, because, you know, Rodrigo's only 24 years old. I don't really know how else they're supposed to behave other than consider this as an option. And I think people go way too quick to the Savinho is blocking Rodrigo coming in, because it's not really that. It's just, and I hate to describe the players as like investments, because they're people as well, obviously, but they are to the club. I mean, if you can 4x your money, and they meet that valuation, and then you can use that money to improve the squad, isn't that what any fan would want their club to do? Now, whether you think Rodrigo is better or not is a different discussion, but at least the act of, we paid this, they're willing to meet our valuation, and we think we can go get someone better. I would think that's what most fans would want their club to be doing. Personally.
Yeah, and I think, and I agree with you that you're right. I think everybody understands, hey, if we have an opportunity to continue to advance the club, to improve the club, fine, it is what it is. So from the club standpoint, I personally don't have any concerns with that, or whatever. It is what it is. I may not agree, but it is what it is. But I think the issue for me, and maybe what we were speaking to mostly, was just the reaction from the fans, where we feel the need to, I don't want to say kick a player when they're down, if you want to say it that way, or because the club is entertaining the idea, so now we got to go and kill the player, kill the person. And I don't remember that. Again, I've only, I haven't been a City fan for 30 years like some people. I've only been a City fan since 13, 12, whatever it was. So I can only go so far back. But even when, like when Pep came in and got rid of Joe Hart, I don't remember people just like killing Joe Hart. Now, was Joe Hart perfect? No. And people would say, okay, he can't get down to his left or whatever. But I didn't feel like this when Joe Hart got quote unquote pushed aside.
Oh no, Tarek, they were singing songs about him. Don't sell Joe out, my Joe.
Yeah. So
it was the complete opposite.
So I feel like there's been a switch, and that's the part that, if you want to say, concerns me, and that's maybe too strong, but it's just like, I feel like we're changing. And I know, Martin, you've said this, and others that, maybe have been longer term fans. You said that, hey, we feels like the soul of the club is changing or whatever. And maybe that's too strong, but I don't want us to, I don't want us to change too much, because again, at the end of the day, when the players are in our shirts, I'm going to back them. If they decide to move on, hey, wish you the best, unless it's against us, and then move on. But
it's like the Edison stuff. Edison has been for 8 years a quality goalie.
Yep.
Now, in his 9th year, has he regressed slightly? I'll be honest with you, I think every player regresses 9 years into any kind of tenure.
To Radjak's point, the entire squad regressed last year.
Unless your name is Fernandinho, and then you improve every year.
Yeah, everyone was poor last season. Let's be honest. I mean, this is why we joked, well, pick me a player of the season. We were naming like 2 players. We were like, people were sticking Nico Riley into the Player of the Season awards. He played about 6 games. That's how desperate we were getting into a Player of the Season. It was clearly Josko Gavardio, but Gavardio had made errors as well in games. And I think what it was I think some of this is just sheer panic because of the season we had. If we'd have come off a title-winning season, then I think, yeah, you can understand it. You know, we're improving. Again, I have no problem with Rodrigo coming in. Do I think he's a quality player? Yes. It's the language being used. Savinho wants out. At no point, as Savinho said,
no, he's open to a move. It's entirely different.
Yeah. What he said is he's explored options.
Yeah.
Every player explores options at some point because that's what agents do. He's not done an Isaac. He's not done a Vissa. He's not walking around in a Tottenham shirt around the training ground. Someone put that out the other day. He's wearing all Nike stuff. He's got his Tottenham shirt on already, you know, because he had Nike top, Nike pants, and everyone was putting 2 and 2 and getting 18, you know, because Nike is sponsored to Tottenham. I'm like, nothing happens. If Tottenham come and they put 70 mil, not euros, mil, on the table, then it becomes a financial question. And of course, at 20 million and 70 mil, you were going to take it. Then we can look at Rodrigo. To Rajat's point, we do need to sell Savinho to get Rodrigo in. We do, because we just don't have the room to bring in another winger.
Correct.
My only worry is what you do with a Mamouche. What do you do with a Bob? What do you do with all these? You just back into the headache situation because Rodrigo is not coming here to rotate with anybody. Rodrigo plays. Same way with Donnarumma. Donnarumma's playing. You're not got a 350 grand a week goalkeeper sat on a bench. You're not got a 300 grand a week Rodrigo sat on a bench. That's the reason he's leaving Real Madrid, because he's not playing. He's not going to swap one bench for another bench. But the trouble is, that's my issue. We're asking players to be okay to play in the, don't like saying smaller games because I find that disrespectful, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it in a way of there's a difference between playing minutes and playing quality minutes.
Yeah.
A player wants quality minutes. What do Liverpool, United, Real Madrid, Barcelona? That was Riyad Mahrez knew he was. What you don't want in a squad is, we know we're the A squad, you know you're the B squad. When that comes into a camp, I think it starts asking the problems.
How do you prevent that though? Isn't it that kind of just like inevitable at some point, which is why players here and there leave every year, whether it's Alvarez or Mahrez or whoever?
I think it's a great question, Jake, and I think we've dealt with it by just allowing these players who want out to go, like Alvarez, like Mahrez.
It's just part of football, isn't it?
Yeah, you just let them go. I think where the difference is now, we're trying to do it after 1 year. Mahrez had been with us 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah.
Alvarez was probably the quickest one out.
I think the. Oh, go ahead. You haven't spoke much. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the Mahrez one's an interesting one because it's turning down the money, right? But the Alvarez one, he gave us 2 years. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm not better than Haaland. I'm not going to be playing in my preferred position." And he's an attacking player, but you know, we saw Pep have him kind of like a second striker playing 10. Like it was never what I think he truly wanted. The 1 year is incredibly harsh, in my opinion. And for some that were ready to let Savinho go, I think it is only because it was Rodrigo. I think it's because the fantasy or the image of Rodrigo, and we all remember, I hate it, we all remember on how impactful he was getting onto the pitch and doing what he did versus us. And we were like, well, let's have that weapon play for us, not for anyone else. I think that's why many were okay for Savinho to go. But after 1 year, I'm with you guys. I was like, let's see how he can develop. Whenever a player says, I want more playing time and these are my terms, I don't want to necessarily do what the club wants to do. And most most familiar is the Cole Palmer one. The club's got to say, okay, do it your way. If you're not going to look to do it our way, you're not going to look to maybe compete for your time. You're not going to maybe go out on loan and then we can revisit this. If you're like, you're out the door, then the club's like, you're out the door. And I think we got to hold that stance. But from a talent standpoint, guys, I think many of our fan base were harsh on Savinho because we saw him pressing for that goal. We saw how he was playing to try and get that goal. It was like a monkey on his back, and he was pressing it, he was forcing it too much. But when he was healthy, when he was playing, some of the deliveries that he gave with regards to Haaland, how he was connected, I think he was on point. He just got a little too much in his head from a goal standpoint. And this season, he would have registered 2 goals because we know that one Foden kind of took that one from him, so he could have been 2 goals up early and just ready to run off. But yeah, I'm glad we got Savinho because I think we need to see more of him.
To go back what a picture.
By the way, Alvarez is looking at moving again.
Yeah.
Don't know if anyone's noticed that. He's lasted 18 months.
Is that real?
Yeah. Well, but the thing is, much like Mahrez said, there's no place that is up necessarily from here. There's different, but there's no place that's up. Real, those places, they're effectively same level, the way that our club is run. So anything else feels like a downward step. And I know why he went. He went for those minutes. He went for not just minutes in general, but for minutes in his preferred position in those competitions. And so I get it. But now you realize that there was more than just the on-pitch stuff that I kind of took for granted and I wish I wouldn't have. And so now you're like, kind of wish I could go back and do that all over again. You probably see the same thing with like a Sane when you see a Sane huddled up with Pep and you're kind of having their conversation. Probably a lot of the same conversations. I bet you if you were to go back and ask Raheem Sterling if you could do it all over again, would you stay? Knowing that he's still here, probably would. So I don't know. But what I was going to say back to Shake's point though is you said how do we keep it from becoming where it's an A or a B team? And what I would say is Pep has always been really good about you earn your minutes in training.
Yeah.
And so I remember, on our streams every week saying, okay, so what do you think the lineup's going to be this week? And I have no clue because Pep is constantly chopping and changing. He's switching people in and out. And they knew that if I perform in training, then I'm going to get chances. And so you just had to I'm going to make a guess outside of, let's say a Haaland up top and in the Ederson in the old world, but who knows if Trafford will get or if Donnarumma or whatever. Outside of those people, and probably like a Rodri, if he's healthy, most games he's going to play. But everybody else is, you may play this week, you may not, or you may come off the bench this week, whatever. And so you have to continue to compete week in, week out, training session, day in, day out. And I think that was the thing that I think that was the thing that kept everybody from becoming complacent where I'm going to only, and I think for Alvarez is one of those things where I'm just never going to be the starter in the 9 position over Haaland. So, he got plenty of playing time, but that was just never going to be the case.
Yeah.
But for most other people, you just got to go earn it. And so I think that was what I saw from Pep. And I think to a certain extent, we kind of got away from, well, it feels like we got away from, I don't know. But when we saw, this is what people were started complaining about this last year, when we saw quote unquote the unks playing, it's like, wait a minute, why are they playing instead of these young kids that we thought maybe deserved to play? Yeah. I don't know if it was just they weren't performing in training or if it was just Pep being too loyal, but I'll stop.
Can I ask something? We've all played sports. We've all been watching professional sports for a long time. And let's think beyond our club. Are there not, quote unquote, the A team and the B team, the first squad and the second squad? Like that's very normal.
Absolutely.
So it's like the nature of sport, you got to compete to get your spot. And I think we do have a manager that is picking you because you are the best to help him win.
Yes, but you do want to make sure you have a chance, though.
I disagree slightly. Yeah, that's my thing with Tariq. What he's just said, spot on. think, yes, you can have an A or a B. Is there a pathway from B to A?
Yes.
If there's a pathway from B to A, then I think most players will be all right. Where the A and B doesn't work is Riyad Mahrez scored a hat-trick in the FA Cup semi-final. So you would naturally think, you know what, he's banged an hat-trick, he's getting in the final team. No, he wasn't. He was going straight back to the bench the next game. That's where the demoralising part comes, because you're like, I've done hat-trick now. I've done my job.
Yeah.
And I'm still not going to get into your first team for the final. There's nothing I can do now.
Well,
and that's where I'm worried with Trafford. Let's be honest, and let's be bluntly honest. Trafford has no chance with Donnarumma walking in the door. He really doesn't.
Hold on. He has no chance. Okay, I will say he has no chance of being number one this year. If you bring in Donnarumma, the price and all that stuff, I think there's going to be more of an emphasis for him to be the number one.
Yes.
But we continue to see, like Pep and the staff continue to see both in training. They see how, quote unquote, Trafford plays in the less important games. I think year two, realistically, is where I hope that he and his agent back themselves to be like, we made the right decision to be at City. Let's go.
So
let's go.
Did Alvarez have a real chance getting in over Haaland there? Really?
Okay,
no,
that's very different.
No,
that's
he
very
did
different.
Not.
No,
he did not.
Let me know. Don't let Mark get away with this.
No, he did not have a chance to start over Haaland in that position, but he had opportunities to be on the pitch, which is different from a goalkeeper because a goalkeeper, there's only one of them on the pitch at any given time.
That's even better point.
That's why I want to go after him.
Everybody else. Alvarez played a ton. He just didn't play where he wanted to play. And quite honestly, as a fan base, we kind of killed him if he played, oh, here we go, him as the 10 or whatever. People didn't like that. But he did play. In the case of Trafford, if I'm not in goal, I'm sitting in the stands. And you don't make a goalkeeper substitution, you're not getting in at all.
Newcastle. No, he could. He had Champions League waiting for him at Newcastle. He came home, and within 2 weeks, sorry, mate, Donnarumma, because we've all heard it now, because everyone says they believe Fabrizio, some do, some don't. The plan was Edison to go out, Donnarumma to come in. And Trafford's like, right, I'll fight. You can't. I think if Trafford was like, I've got a season, I can show, I've got a full season, that's a real chance to have a good go at it. If he's got 2 games, that's
wait, no. Hold on. All right. If Ederson were here, it would be the same situation of Trafford trying to prove himself, right?
Yes, but we know Ederson is leaving at the end of the season. His contract is ran down, so there was an opportunity for him to take not just the number 1 shirt in the number on his jersey, but also to be able to take that spot in the roster going forward. That doesn't exist if Donnarumma comes in.
But this is where I disagree because we have everyone scratching their heads and wondering, Donnarumma, he's so opposite of what we've been doing. And we just saw the debut from Trafford, right? So all I'm saying is, if it was to be Trafford competing with whoever was going to be number 1, Ederson or Donnarumma, that doesn't change this year. What he needs to do is show that he can be the number 1 next year, which would have been the case. Yes, Ederson would have been exited, so it's the vacancies there. But he's just got to prove himself again now with a different keeper, and it's Donnarumma. I don't see it so much as that it's a slap in the face of Trafford and him being brought back to the club, but hey, I'm hearing a lot that Donnarumma doesn't make sense to us. So maybe Trafford's probably like, hey, let me show you how good I am.
What makes sense to us.
I get your point. But the only thing is, competing against Ederson, you're going to get a lot less resistance than competing against Donnarumma. Ederson's out guaranteed next year, pretty much. Donnarumma, he's 26. He's here for a good time and a long time. That's the only issue with your point.
True.
I could use an American analogy here for us being the American show. It kind of reminds me of the Atlanta Falcons with Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix. They signed Kirk Cousins to this long mega contract. He's 35, whatever. So it's a little bit different, but they also the same time they bring in this highly experienced, expensive quarterback, they bring in a rookie first-round draft pick. And it's like, are we going to go with the guy we paid all this money to, or are we going to go with the guy that is better positioned to win us games right now? And I know people don't like that. People aren't going to say we're going to bench a $200K a week goalkeeper, but there is a thing called the sunk cost fallacy. We're paying Donnarumma $200K a week no matter what. The main objective of City is to win games. So if he struggles and we have Trafford, and regardless of what we're paying them, we put the keeper who provides the most positive benefit to the team, and that's what the Falcons did. I mean, they benched their $100 million guaranteed contract for a guy who's making $4 million. That's it does happen. I know it's not likely, and I know people always say, "Oh, you're not going to bench the guy on the high wages," but it does happen. It is
So are we hearing? Are we hearing? Here we go. Like, are we hearing everything's done? When are we expecting this? Should I be throwing this at you, Martin?
This might not even happen. So
yeah,
You know what?
I'm still holding out hope that we're just trying to sucker United into bidding for him.
Someone's got to ask Galatasaray. Here's the problem: until Galatasaray actually put a bid in that is reasonable.
They want everybody.
Well, I don't, because everyone's on about, well, Edison's close. Because if I hear they're close, they're pushing, they're one more time. I heard you, they're bringing over reps to have a chat with a Kanja. Well, shouldn't the reps already be here if they're chatting about Edison?
Right.
What, do they have separate reps for different players? What are we doing here? Is it a rep for a Kanji, a rep for Edison, a rep for somebody else? And here's my thing is, Edison's trained today. Edison was in training today.
Yeah.
He's playing this weekend.
Like the guy who's picking out the door here.
Yeah.
Oh, Martin, that can't be true. The fans online are saying he's pulling an Isak. That can't be true.
This is what I mean. Savinho, by the way, he's actually got a knock. He is slightly injured. Because again, I watched the Inside City video, which I think City brought that out on purpose, I'm starting to think, because I've never seen him show that much training footage before. I'm like, you've done that because of all these rumors that are going around of, oh, look, he's there, he's not sat at home.
That's
Fabrizio goes, Akanji's out the door. Akanji goes, am I?
Yeah, he's like, I didn't know anything about that.
I was, mate. But cheers for telling me.
That was very American. I think, Ed, you sent that to me. It was very, very
American.
Yeah,
very American.
Go ahead.
Because I think it's this is the thing about the whole Akanji thing. The club did agree with a fee for Galatasaray. This not the first time we see clubs, agree a fee without the player first. But usually those deals don't work out. But there's only one team in for him, so he doesn't have multiple suitors in the situation. But would you guys be willing to let Akanji go?
I mean, I would.
Well, I think you have to put that in the context of Akanji and Ake being sought after, because I heard today Ake being looked at by Everton. So would you let both of them go? One of them?
Well, and then recall Victor Hayes straight back from his Girona loan. I
was going to say, I don't have a problem with Akanji going, because I know that if push comes to shove, we can always recall Victor Hayes. Letting two center backs go feels a little different to me. That feels, I don't know, especially having seen the injury situation we kind of got ourselves into last season. It feels a little risky, but
I prefer Akanji's versatility than if I were to lose one, Akanji or Ake, I'd rather lose Ake.
But Ake is homegrown, don't forget. If that matters. It may not matter.
I do get your point, Vader, but at the same time, you lose Ake and you're down to one left-footed centre back, and that's an issue.
Yeah.
Pep loves the lefty on the left, righty on the right. Obviously, it wasn't like that against Wolves. It wasn't like that in the COVID season, but Pep is very much gravitated towards that, especially if you consider Vardiol as left back depth as well. If Vardiol steps into left back, then you literally do not have a left-footed centre back. So.
And you can also move O'Reilly, I suppose. It tells me then I think we may end up using O'Reilly even though he's played midfield the first two games. Palermo and Wolves came on in midfield. He didn't come on in defence.
Right.
I think the sad thing is with O'Reilly, I think if you sell Ake and Akanji, I think you would have to bring O'Reilly back into the left back sort of area or left whatever. Because the sad thing is you are 2 injuries away from another defensive crisis if you sell Akanji and Ake. Because John Stones, by the way, stays. We've all been saying John Stones gets injured. So you're left with Nunes, Rico Lewis. You've sold Akanji, you've sold Ake.
Yeah.
You would have to buy somebody, Martin. You would
Diaz.
have to buy somebody or bring Hayes back.
That's what I'm saying. So we've suddenly wiped all our defenders off the face of the planet to get them out. By the way, Fab never said Akanji was done. He kind of did, Elgo, which is why Akanji had to call it out. So the one thing I got a message earlier is they're not happy with Fabrizio at the minute. Fabrizio's causing a little bit of
Good.
Someone's leaking you this info, but can you calm down because the players don't? It's making some players uneasy because they're seeing what's happening with Visser, they're seeing what's happening with Isaac, and Savinho's like, well, did he think I want to jump out the ship here? And Savinho's never publicly said, I want to go. So he's like, everyone's just saying, just shut up, be quiet. I think the club told Akanji to say something this morning. I think the club told Akanji to say something.
I like that move because there's a lot of people getting played by these, social media posts. There's a lot of interactions, and more so because the players or their agents are like, we know the truth. We'll just let it go. But we can see the damage that it makes because some of the reactions that the fans do and how they're in the comments and how they speak on the players, and a lot of it's not even true. I like that Akanji came out and said, what? That's news to me.
By the way, Callum Doyle's leaving. He's
off to Wrexham.
Yeah, Wrexham.
Yeah.
So, Callum Doyle's out the equation now. Echeverry's out the equation. We're going to end up selling about 10 players by the end.
Echeverry's he's on loan.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
But he's gone. There's no callback for him, though. There is a callback for...
There's no obligation.
We can recall Vitor Hayes at any given point in time. I'm sure there's some kind of a fee for that, but yeah.
I don't think the owner would be happy to recall him back within 2 weeks.
He didn't even just got a substitution appearance.
A quick holiday. He's just gone for a nice brief holiday over there.
So in the chat, Real Mario 69 said we should we'll look at Mark Gahey, and I saw somebody else say that on an earlier stream. But my thing is, again, if you're going to bring in Mark Gahey, then what does that say to Vitor Hayes? I don't know. And maybe I shouldn't care about that kind of stuff, but I do.
See, that's the problem. This is where I'm at. I don't mind being ruthless, but if you're going to go ruthless, you've got to be ruthless throughout now. So whether it's Kushnerov, Foden, Rodri, because I said to someone the other day, Rodri's 29. Rodri's approaching the Unk territory if we're doing this, but we're giving him a new contract.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the fans to call him Unk.
Because I worked this out the other day. If we give Rodri a new contract, 350-ish, roughly. Foden, new contract. He's going to want to go to nearly 3. Donnarumma's contract, Rodrigo's contract, because Savinho's only on 35 grand a week. Rodrigo's not coming in on 35 grand a week. He's coming in, what, 100
at least
10 times more?
He's probably 200.
Yeah, at least.
At minimum.
And then you've got Rico, by the way, Rico's now signed. He's here till 2028 on a brand new deal. Or wherever it was, 28, 29.
No, I thought it
said 2030.
2030.
You get 2030, yeah. Yo, it's 5 years. I'm getting my years mixed up. 5-year deal. I'm thinking it was 2023 then. Have I lost 2 years?
It is terrifying. 5-year deal.
You're still in the trouble season.
I have lost 2 years.
All which we were.
I've lost 2 years. So Rico signed up. I guess we're in for the next 10 days.
Yeah.
Sit back, buckle up, and just see what happens.
It's gonna be intense. It's gonna be
I
intense.
don't know where we're gonna be. He's Savinho right now, not selling. Tottenham bid 70 mil. Different subject then. I think once they hit the 7-0 mark,
Can we fault the club for flipping a player 1 year later for 50+ mil? Can we really?
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? Like we can't turn something like that down.
The other thing you think about is, I know people are upset about the 1 year thing, but we're not out there openly trying to sell Savinho. Spurs are the one interested in him. Like, if it was a different one of our players who hadn't been here only 1 year, would people feel different about that? If it was Doku, who's had, I know it's only 2 years, but 2 years of some highs, some lows, would people feel different? Like, City are not openly trying to sell this guy. It just so happens he's been here a year, and that's the guy Spurs have decided they want to sign.
Yeah. So
I think the 1 year thing is sometimes a little misleading, because it's not like we're giving up on him.
Mm-hmm.
And not that we're going to get a buyback or anything, but
I think that's a good point. Oh, sorry, my bad.
No, I was going to say what worries me is, and when I have doubts on Savinho, Tottenham couldn't get Gibbs White done for whatever reason. Something went wrong. They now couldn't get Eze done. Arsenal walked in and got a here we go, all done and dusted within
the pressure's on. The pressure's on.
What I've got no confidence Tottenham are coming to do any kind of real deal with Manchester City for Savinho. I think that's where I'm at. I don't trust Tottenham. I'm back to this. If Tottenham can't do Gibbs White and Eze, and that is, with due respect, Crystal Palace, what am I thinking they're coming to do any kind of real business with us?
Well, you know what? My only concern is, I think they were flirting with a few players, right? So now that Eze's taken off the board, they could be like, well, we have to react. We see what Arsenal have done. We've seen what Chelsea have done in terms of how strong they are.
Forest.
There we go. So it's probably a case where they're like, you know what? We've been dragging our feet with Savinho because we were flirting on getting Eze. Eze's off the board now. Maybe they come back in and they give that price. I don't know. There's so many moving pieces. It's not going to be a boring transfer. It's not, because I think we're all trying to keep pace with each other. And Arsenal are better with this Eze signing. That's
by the way, there was no at the moment. Savinho's not scheduled. Even if Savinho cannot play on Saturday, he's injured at the minute. That's why I don't think it is this Tottenham game at the weekend, because it's not. We're Wednesday now, aren't we? He's got to be registered by Friday noon, and he's injured. He's not even going to play per se. So I don't think it is the Spurs move. This is Spurs. For me, are not serious. Don't think they're serious.
Well, I mean, the register by Friday is only if he were to play, right? But it may be the case where it's not so much the impact for him to be ready to play versus us in this game, but for them to secure him before the transfer window's closed. Like, I think there's still a lot of wheeling and dealing.
No, he's on a 12 goal because he said, I don't think the club doesn't want to sell Savinho before the match and watch him score a knee slide at the Etihad. I don't think
that was me too. I felt the same way. It's like, why sell him before we have to turn around and face him? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Same thing with I think, doesn't Liverpool play Newcastle
He's up.
or something like that? Yeah. So why would you do that?
Oh, to be
Why?
stupid.
Again, you're gonna face him later in the season, so you're not gonna get away from it completely. But why put myself in that position?
Yeah.
Are we buying that he's injured for real?
No, he is.
Yeah.
He is. He's got a knock.
Well, the only reason I say is, I mean, he's injured. He's linked with a move away. Ederson's sick. He's linked with a move away. Like, are we just
kind of convenient?
Crazy coincidence that both of them are?
Edison is training. He was in training today.
And
he was diving around and loving it.
All it takes is a bid. All it takes is a bid, and everything changes.
Well, that's the thing. You know, the Spurs have made 2 bids. They never have. They made 1 bid. They were reportedly coming to make a second bid. They never did.
Can we as fans, because I hear the conversation in the Twitter X Spaces, can we as fans accept a player playing for our club even though a move doesn't happen? Like, is there going to be resentment if Ederson remains here and plays for us for another year? Or are the fan base going to, like, are we going to back him, or are we going to be like, he's he's just here because he didn't get his deal.
I'm trying to remember how it was, but if you remember Eric Garcia 5 years ago, he was to Barcelona for a whole summer, and then he just chose to run down his contract. And there was this whole debate of if he scores a winning goal in the Champions League final, are you going to celebrate it? Of course you would, but I don't know.
I've just got to do these two.
The only parallel I can think of.
BP Browning, thank you for your very kind $4.99. With Bob back, can't we play more of Savinho on the left if he stays, offering more of a start to Doku? Great panel.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, I think for me personally, I think Savinho has been better when he's played on the left. We talk about the goals and a lot of the assists that he did have. A lot of that came playing in that stretch where he was playing on the left because Doku was out. So yes, I would love to see Savinho go back over on the left side. The other name that you didn't list here, BP Browning, is Marmoush. And so I think for me, Marmoush is the one that's blocking more so than Bob is on the right. We can bring Savio, and I think you got Marmoush over there, plus you got Doku. So I think that's the thing that would keep him kind of isolated to the right, in my opinion.
Can I put you guys on the spot? So obviously, a couple seasons ago, we had Haaland and Alvarez come in at the same time. Alvarez gives us 2 seasons; he's out. Are we kind of getting a little antsy? Are we nervous what may happen with Marmoush? Are you guys calm with Marmoush?
I am.
That's my whole worry with Rodrigo, really.
With the arrival of Rodrigo.
Rodrigo's not coming to sit on the bench, and we've been hit so many times with I need to play more, I need to be a starter somewhere for this to really work out. So I'm very concerned about that. And then there's this whole thing of, okay, who cares if we win everything? It doesn't matter if he leaves. Okay, so then are we going to want a world-class winger to replace Marmoush next summer? That's going to be...
How you all going to do that if Foden walks out the door?
Never happening. Don't do that.
No. I know. See, but this thing, everyone...
No, it's a never. Martin, I'm not entertaining that. It's a never. This isn't a Trent Alexander. He is a lifer. Foden is a lifer.
Foden's got 2 years left on a deal. If he's not regularly playing, he will ask the question. I think he will.
I don't see it.
I mean, if my answer for Danny's question would be yes. If he leaves, you go buy a world class. That's just what a club of the size of Man City, who are trying to win everything, do. I don't know. And if he wants to leave, like, it is what it is.
He can cycle and bring in the next world class guy, and then it happens again.
I think it's because it's new.
I like how we all ignored. I like how we all ignored Martin's question with Foden. I like that.
Hey, that's what I mean. No, everyone didn't want to do the Foden.
I mean, because
Foden's got
no one wants to think about
different.
it. Nobody wants to think about the fact that might happen. But the reality is, if he's not playing consistently, he has to go for his own benefit. As a player, I've got to do what's best for me. And it would be like your parents getting divorced. He's been a part of City forever. To rip him out of that would be crazy, and it would cause it would shock to my system. So I don't want to think about it, but he has to consider it.
Miami Sleepy, thank you for your $2, mate. Good
Big
panel.
up, Miami.
Salute my fellow Yanks and Miami. Big up, mate. Thank you. And then Paolo, our resident Brazilian and Savinho lover. Does Rodrigo improve the squad? He wants to play on the left. Is he starting over Marmoush? Which is why, great question. Not in my side. He's not coming in to be on the bench. I think that's the problem with the Rodrigo.
Could we not see Pep move Marmoush or utilize Marmoush in a different area of the pitch?
Where?
Or
maybe the 10, but then is that what you're saying?
Where does Cherky go?
Yeah, and then Bernardo's gonna play a lot of minutes because he's the captain, and that's where he plays. So
never got to Oscar Bob yet.
So now we're playing musical chairs. That's the issue.
Isn't that just what we do though? Like, these are good.
Rodrigo's younger.
This is what
right?
we do though.
Am I correct? Rodrigo's younger than Marmoush?
Yes.
That's correct.
He's 24.
And they're both going to be on $300,000 a week.
I think when you ask people about Rodrigo, it really depends on the perception of him. You know, it's like some people will say that he's a world beater, world class. He's going to come in and change everything, bank goals. Then some people will say he has to score a lot of goals, but his track record is not that good. Some people, it depends on the price. You know, I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I think Rodrigo's a fantastic football player. I think he can come in. He's going to do a good job if he's given the opportunity. But is he that kind of, you know, game-breaking player that warrants $100 million fee, and he's going to come in and like you just sign him and figure it out? I don't know if he's that caliber of player personally. I think he's shown it against us, which is why City fans have this perception that he is that. But again, that's not to say that I don't think he's good, and I don't think he's going to be good for us if given the opportunity. I just don't know if he's like a sign him, get it in, let Pep figure it out. Because there's only like a very, very select few amount of those players in the world that you'd want to spend that money on and get in, regardless of the fit and the tactics behind it, you know? And City generally don't really operate like that. They don't just go and buy players for the sake of buying players also. So it's weird, man. And I feel like Donnarumma is kind of a similar situation. It's like everyone's talking about how they fit. It's like both these guys, it's like they have massive profiles on the international stage. They're well established. They play at big clubs. They've won a ton. So like on paper, you can see why some fans are excited about it. But then if you dig a little deeper, it's not as sensible as you might think initially, you know? So it's complicated.
It was hard for me, you know, I love my wife, she's a soulmate, love my life. Jennifer Aniston, because all I hear is it's an opportunity. All right, then Jennifer Aniston's an opportunity down the road. I'm ditching my wife and running because it's an opportunity that's never coming. I wasn't expecting it. I get it. It's exciting and it's great. But and maybe it's me. I love Mamouche and I love Bob. I've got so much hype in Oscar Bob at the minute. I'm like Bob season. Let's go. I don't want to lose Bob. If I see Bob walking out from Middlesbrough, Newcastle, or somewhere in 12 months, I'm like, what are we doing here?
But Martin, is that what it is though? Is that we have, and every fan is this way, right? We have attachment to certain players in the squad.
Yeah.
And we want to see certain players, you know, given that chance, given that opportunity to prove what all the potential we see in them, right? And I think a lot of people that love the academy have probably felt this way probably every summer.
We're not playing full time. We're really not. Pep's never. Someone answered that earlier about Alvarez. I used to say that I played two up top. Me and Vate used to talk about this long into the night about playing two up top. And you remember we always went back to the Liverpool game. You know when he played Aguero and Jesus.
Oh, yeah, the 5-0.
Yeah, and we were like, oh great. And then you didn't see it again for like 2 years. You're like, that's that idea done with. And this Pep does not do two up top, sadly.
I don't see it.
I think this is why the winger thing is good for me. Mamouche can play wing, Bob can play wing because they naturally invert and come inside.
Yeah,
and I think that's why I wouldn't mind Rodrigo. My favorite with Rodrigo is I don't want to lose somebody else for it.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is,
that's my attachment to it. I'm sorry. Oscar Bob's my boy. I'm getting the name on my back with Foden. Him and Bob and Foden, I hope they have a little click and they loving it and everything. That's just me. Maybe I'm being Alan there. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing an Alan.
It's not an academy thing for me. It's like I know at the start of the takeover it was different. We brought in like players who are at the end of their careers. We brought in like Maicon, Kolo Toure, Adebayor, etc. But like recently, last 10 years or so, we're bringing in players who like we turn into superstars. And I love that. It's not an academy thing. It's players write their stories at Manchester City. You bring in Rodrigo, you bring in Donnarumma, their stories are already halfway written. Mm-hmm. And then if they come in, I'll back them. But I just love players like making their name here and being, like 10 years down the line, like maybe I have a kid. Oh, you see De Bruyne, yeah, he was the City guy. You see Raheem Sterling, he was a City guy. Oh, you see Rodrigo, oh, he was the Real Madrid guy, and then he came to City at the end. Well, not at the end.
But like Pardo says, it is about improving the team, like Rajak has mentioned. I get that, and I fully do see the argument. I do. But then why we complain for 18 months about Cole? If I see another, we shouldn't have let Cole Palmer go out the door tweet, or every time Chelsea play, everyone gets PTSD on Cole Palmer. But let's go back 2 years. People were raving on Doku when he walked in. 60 million. This is going to be the guy. Let's go, go, go. Screw Cole Palmer.
No,
Some people probably were, but go ahead.
But there's no fan base better at contradicting ourselves than our online fan base. I just find it
every fan base to be
I
honest.
find it so ironic that on the same day that we get the Grealish, here we go to Everton. This is not a dig at Grealish. It says, oh, City are going to drop 100 million on Rodrigo. Everyone's all over it. Everyone says, oh, we're free from Grealish. We're free from Grealish. 5 hours later, City are dropping 100 million on Grealish. Yes, get in. And it's like, what? Are you serious? Have you heard yourself?
Yeah, I think so. I understand where Rajek is coming from, right? You do have to make those decisions, and I guess if we think, and I guess I'm actually asking as a question, does everybody think that Rodrigo is a improvement over Marmoush specifically?
Let me ask you a question, just to interject there real quick. Do you think he's instead of looking at him as direct competition for Marmoush, which, yeah, he theoretically is, if you look at him as a replacement for Grealish, does that change your perception of us bringing him in?
So,
if Grealish played, yeah.
Grealish, yeah. And I guess the reason I brought up Marmoush is because if we knew in January that we had a chance at Rodrigo, why go get Marmoush?
We had to make top 4.
Would you have just gotten Rodrigo in?
We had to make top 4. Like,
but again, so then I asked, so was it a, I don't want to say panic buy because it accomplished what we were hoping to do. We were able to get top 4. So maybe panic buy is too strong of a word. But do you look back on it and say, well, in hindsight, I would have rather.
No, I personally wouldn't, just because I feel like transfers don't work like that. It's like the club reacts to a fluid, changing situation. You know, it's like,
sure,
we have plans, we have targets and whatnot. But in the case of like Trafford and Donnarumma, 2 weeks ago, Ederson was staying, we signed Trafford, and that was that. And then all of a sudden, Galatasaray comes back in, we have to react to that. Would you rather, I'm not saying you, but in general, I think, would people rather the club sit on their hands, watch Ederson go out the door, or Ortega go out the door, and then go into the season with Trafford and Bettinelli? Or would you rather them act and go out and get Donnarumma because it's a market opportunity? Because I think if Rodrigo
actually, what I would prefer in that scenario is the club just say, I'm not going to sell Ederson. I'm just not going to sell him.
I guess that's technically what the club wants, right? Now. It's like
he's going to be our... Yeah, so he's going to be our... So that's what I would do, if to answer your question. Because if I think that Trafford, who on one hand, he's English, so that helped with the homegrown piece. He's academy player, so that helped with that. We have a familiarity. He knows how we play. He come up in this system. So I think there were a lot of things that were so a lot to like about Trafford as a opportunity.
So like a market opportunity, right?
Not even just a market opportunity. I mean, to a certain extent, I guess, if you want to say it that way. Yeah, I guess you could say it that way.
Isn't that what Pep said? Like verbatim, he was like, it was an opportunity. And like I saw a bunch of people on Twitter saying like, "Oh, Pep doesn't like him. He called him an opportunity." I don't know if it's true.
I didn't see that. Maybe I didn't see it. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. Yeah. So, but on the note of Rodrigo, I just feel like, and with Donnarumma, where we are in the window now, with 2 weeks left, Savinho potentially moving out the door, Ederson potentially moving out the door. They're trying to find an opportunity, and maybe in that sense, it's like a panic buy, I guess, but. This isn't like I love my boy Mateus Nunes, but that to me was a panic buy on a list of midfielders that we went through and we missed on all of them in that same window. To me, this doesn't feel as much of a panic buy as much as it seems like almost like a calculated risk given what the market opportunity is. Does that make sense?
I agree. Yep.
No, I agree with that. I think you have to get Donnarumma if you let Ederson go. You got to get a top guy. I would agree with that.
Have to do something,
Yeah,
sure.
But I think the frustration is we're a little bit in with it. I just need to. Sorry, I'm covering Tariq's face up there with the comments. I think I feel like we're in a bit of limbo here because we're waiting for Galatasaray to do A, then we can go to B, Galatasaray have now decided they want to bring somebody else to do a Kanja. Well, you've not even done Edison, so why you want a Kanja? And I feel like, and then Real Madrid are like sort of wandering in the background somewhere because Alonso's like, yeah, I've just not even had a bid. We've not even had any offers. We've had nothing. So up to now, we've got 6 days to get a deal like Rodrigo through the door, which is not an easy deal, may I add. That is not a deal you can get done in 2 hours and out the door because there'll be sponsorships, there'll be all, you know, like these big, huge deals take time. So
do you think City have already been talking to him though?
Yeah, we would have to be.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we put the groundwork in like we have for Donnarumma.
Yeah,
I think Donnarumma is done. I do believe Donnarumma is done. What they're waiting on is Edison to go. Then they can do it. But
is it fair to say that Rodrigo's then done, and we're just waiting on the Savinho deal?
It's less done. They've not even made the bid to Real Madrid yet. That's what I mean. Because if we, you know, City
that we know of. I mean,
no. Well, you're at 6 days, 7 days. City, you're basically going to need the first bid to be accepted on Rodrigo. Because in Real Madrid, if we sell Savinho and we bid 90 million for Rodrigo, Madrid go, no, we were 130.
Then it's panic station.
yeah, but
then
I don't
you're in
think
panic station mode.
I think these things happen at the same time. I don't think we sell Savinho unless we know the guy we want, and if that is Rodrigo, which it seems like it is also done. In the same way we're doing this Ederson deal, we're waiting on the Ederson deal to be completed, and we've got Donnarumma ready. If it gets
Galatasaray bluffers. I don't think I need to see something different from Galatasaray and Spurs. The ball is unfortunately in Spurs and Galatasaray's court now.
I feel like City is okay with that. You know, it's like they like Pep likes the squad. He knows people need to leave. Yeah, exactly. So I think we're, like you said, we're in a state of limbo, but at the same time, I feel like we're in a pretty good place. Some players need to leave. They probably will leave. And if they go, we have potential lineups, potential replacements lined up. Where I would be concerned is if we don't get those replacements and then we start throwing out names out there and that becomes a panic buy, i.e. my boy Mateus Nunes, you know. But that being said,
you're saying that
right
now, appeared on the radio. Like, where's that come from?
he's apparently going to go to Tottenham now. Wasn't he linked to Tottenham earlier today or yesterday?
Yeah, he's the Savinho backup.
That's
Legend.
crazy. So
another super
this
chat,
like domino, you know.
The one and only 007, James Bond. Big up. Thank you very much for your very kind £20. Appreciate that, mate. Oh, Man City, the only all English team to win the Football League. I was 6 years old. City till I die. England. Big up, mate. Thank you for that. James Bond, I've got a feeling you and Alan would get on like a house on fire. You and Alan would, I can just see it. But big up, James Bond. Appreciate that for your very kind super chat. Right, Martin, we have the money from McAtee. What do you mean? I don't. What? Governor, what do you mean? Sorry, I don't understand what you mean by that. I don't get. Because they can't. Ed, will you stop? We cannot. You know what you're doing. Ed's sticking stuff in the chat. Will you stop with your little tidbits? So, yeah, what do you mean? Because, yeah, we've got money. It's not money that's an issue. It's the negotiation time. This is the problem. We don't know how far down we are with anyone. And trouble is, nothing will happen during game weekend because Pep will not allow anything to Pep. So on Friday, people will say, oh, Pep will give us an update. Well, he won't because Pep will just go into full Tottenham Hotspur mode. Pep's not going to be talking transfers while he's preparing for Tottenham. So then you're going into Sunday, Monday of next week. So now you're into 1 week left. And you've got to get Edison, Akanji, Gundo, Ake. Who was the other one? Savinho. And get Donnarumma and Rodrigo in the door.
I can't wait for the press conference, man.
In 7 days.
I can't wait.
He did give a little bit last week.
He always does a little bit, you know.
I think they've got to hook up a police lie detector to him.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, because like he said, Edison's there. Because Edison was at the CFA, you know. because before every away game, they go to the CFA and they have bedrooms there.
Yes.
Edison stayed at the CFA not on the Friday night. He was going down. He was there. He was in the squad. And then all of a sudden, so I don't know. I don't know who to believe anymore. Because am I believing Fabrizio? Am I believing the locals, journals? Who am I believing?
Just enjoy the ride. Just enjoy the ride at this point, you know?
Yeah, all right, I get you now. Yeah.
You ever seen that like Spider-Man picture?
We're not getting rid of
Where
Ortega
they're like
yet.
pointing at each other?
Yes.
That's what I feel like right now. That's what I feel like.
Ed's been posting out news like it's Christmas Day. He's loving it. Anyway, gentlemen, we're going to end it there. I want to say a massive thank you to Dana, Raja, Ed, Sheikh, Tariq. Tariq, where can they all find you, mate?
You can find me on YouTube and in all of the different podcast, wherever you get your podcasts with Shades of Blue, on YouTube or like social media. It's at Shades of Blue NW. You can find me there. You can find, just go there. Support any and all support is appreciated. Thank you.
Sheikh, obviously, where can they all find you? Obviously, your South Stand show with Dats, and you're very good.
Yeah.
Twitter, which I love reading your Twitter. You know, when I need to relax to actually get a sensible viewpoint, I'm like, I'm going to go and read Sheikh's tweets.
Oh, man, I don't know about all that. I try my best. I'll always try my best. But you can follow me on this handle, I guess. I do my show with We Are the South Stand every Thursday. That's 12 p.m. EST. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Twitter.
Yeah, big up. Raja, where can they all find you, mate?
Yeah, I got my own solo YouTube channel with just my name, Ryjack, 2Ks on YouTube. And I have Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, same sort of deal. I do want to say I appreciate after last week's show, we blew past 400 subs. So road to 500 subs now. So appreciate it.
Big up.
Big up. Down here, we know what YouTube show we can find you on.
Yes. If you want to see me in a much less hinged light, then yes, go watch me on LB after every game. But yeah, good and to be on.
Ed, we all know you can find you on here and on Twitter, co-hosting with me on Spaces, which I've already been asked. Ed, someone's already said, "Are you doing one?"
Yeah, I was about to say, are we doing one tonight? Because we've been. Guys, we've been having a space every night for the past, 9 days, I feel?
I've said I'm going to sleep when this transfer window ends. I'm sleeping. I'm just going to sleep. When this transfer window ends, I'm just talking game match reactions and sleep. I can't wait for this. This has been the most stressful window we've ever been in. I'm just like, yeah. And Vader had to jump, but Vader Games TV, go and show him a lot of love. This I'll be back next week. Tuesday next week, loads next week, 11 p.m. Loving this show, loving everything about it. It's amazing. Big up to them all for giving up the time. And we'll see you on the next one. We'll be back tomorrow, Thursday night chat with basically, and we've named it very apt at the moment. It's called the Week of Madness. Because it has been just one hell of a week of madness. We'll get a space going in about 20 minutes. Take care, all. And as always, up the buzz. Oh, this is going to take you straight to LB. So put Mank Raid chat in the chat. Don't forget Mank Way Raid. Take care, all.